to my tutorial of Hard Time Killing Floor Blues by Skip James. This is a wonderful song that I first heard on the soundtrack to Oh Brother Where Art Thou. I think the recording of it on that is a little different now. I think it might be by a different person, but the original song, which is inspired by, is by Skip James. And I love this song. It's very simple in many ways, but very tricky in others. He's got a very particular way of playing, which requires a lot of sort of nuance. So it's very easy to play this badly. Anyway, it's in Dad Fad, the close cousin to Dad Gad. Low D, A, D, F, A, D. So D, A, D, F, A, D. Now, throughout this entire tutorial, we're going to be basically playing everything with a thumb on the bottom 3 strings. Yeah. And then the index is going to be covering the F string, the middle finger is going to be covering the A string, and the ring finger, or A, is going to be covering the high D string. So let's just crack on, shall we? So we've got this lovely little intro. I'm going to play it 3 times, have a listen to it, see if you can work out what intervals is being played. So here we go. 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. So what was going on there? So we've got essentially this lovely little line played on the 3rd fret and 2nd fret, on the D string and the A string. So first of all, we go to an F natural. That's the minor 3rd. So it's instantly in that dark sound. And then we're going to pull off onto the open D. And we're going to go down to an E, which is the 2nd degree in the scale of a D minor scale. And then we're going to go down to the open D. So we're going to go 3rd, open, and then 2nd and open. And it's a minor 3rd to the root, to the major 2nd to the root. Then we're going to go down to the C, that's the minor 7th of the scale. So it's the minor 7th in a D major scale. And then open A, which is the 5th. And then down to a B, which is the major 6th of a scale. And then open D, so there's no A string after the B. Yeah, so we can leave that first finger on, drag out the chord a bit. The whole thing's played with a thumb because it's on the bottom 3 strings. So let's play it nice and slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. So F, D, E, D, C, A, B, D. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and F. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then we go to this lovely chord. So that is an open D, then your 3rd finger's on the 3rd fret of the A string, which is C. So you're getting that minor 7 again, that minor 7 on the root, and a low D. So I'm catching that 3rd finger on the top string and 2nd finger or middle finger on your A string. So I'm playing the 2 together first, and then an open D, and then the thumb is coming down to the middle D string, so it's not low D, it's middle D, and then I'm catching the ring finger, and then middle, and then ring finger. And that's a triplet, so it's 2 and 2 and so open, A string, open, and then catching that chord with the low D again. So we go 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3. So this is technically part of the verse, but it also makes up part of the intro, which sounds like this: 3, 4. And. And. And there we have it. it. So that's the intro and a bit of the verse. So the verse then begins with this lovely lead-in. So it leads in with this lovely hammer-on. So you're hammering onto the 2nd fret, onto the A string, open D. So that's 4 and A, it's another triplet, 4 and A. Pulling down with the 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the D string. And then we're letting go onto the 1st finger on the 2nd fret D string to the note E. Then that 2nd finger goes down to the 3rd fret on the A string to play C. And then the 1st finger goes down to the F string 2nd fret to play a G natural and an open D at the same time. So the ring finger's playing the D. And then you're catching that G again. So we got this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Bend, release down to the 1st finger, down to the 3rd. 2, 3, 4. So 3rd finger, down to the 1st, crossover strings. And that's our first phrase. So we go. And then we follow that same vein. So the 2nd finger goes back to the 3rd fret D string, pulling down again. And then instead of releasing down to the 1st finger, we're releasing to the open string. And then down to the low D as well. And then we get this funny little triplet, which isn't really quite a triplet. It should be 1 and, 4 and, but the way Skip plays it is more like, it's more like pushed. It kind of like falls into the next bar, if that makes sense. So we go 1 and 2 and 3. So it's like kind of pushed into the next bar. I hope that makes sense. So let's go in with the lead in. 1, 2, 3. And again, when you listen to it, it sounds like he plays each note. So that hammer on the open A onto the 3rd fret. It's something like that. Have a listen to the record and it'll make more sense. And then you're releasing that 3rd finger, open A, and down to the 1st finger on the 2nd fret A string, down to the open A, and then you're catching this lovely chord. So that's the 3rd fret on the F string, which is G sharp. And again, the ring finger is playing the open D. And then back down to the A. So we're going to get this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So a hammer on, and then release. And then that chord. Yeah. Then we move into the main section of this, of the sort of vibe, I guess. The this is like the most beautiful thing I think you could possibly play on a guitar. It's gorgeous. So the 3rd fret plays the low F on the low D string and the open D on the ring finger at the same time. So you're playing the low D and the high D at the same time. Down to the A, so that's the 2nd finger or index, middle finger on the A string. And then with the 1st finger, I'm sliding down from G on the 2nd fret F string to the F sharp on the 1st fret of the F string with an open D, and then releasing that down, holding it down rather, and playing the D with the thumb, and then low D, and then middle finger on that A string. So we get this. So you can use your 3rd finger for the 1st string, or your 2nd finger, whichever one you find comfy. And then you got this lovely little slide from G natural up to A, and and then back down again. It's a triplet, 1 and or 4 and so 3, 4. So that's the crux of that sort of riff, and then you basically play that riff again. Essentially, you're doing a pull down on the F. Same thing as before, high D with the ring finger going into the middle finger on the A string, and then this time try just experimenting with a pull off. So you put your first finger on F sharp already, so that's first fret F string, and then your second finger pulling off to that F sharp. So you get this. 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. It's hard to say. Yeah, it's just a variation on what he does, and then it's kind of a bar of 6 really, and then down to the A. Instead of going down back to the low D, we go down to the A. You do the slide up that we did before. And then back down again, and then this time A again on the thumb, and then A on the middle finger, and then we lead into basically the start of the verse again with this. So we can catch the open A, and then the third finger can come to the second fret of the A string, and then slide in to that chord that we played at the start of the verse. So we go 6 and so essentially we played a riff like this, and then instead of going back round again like we would before in a bar of 4, we had 2 beats essentially. So it's 1, 2 and 3, 4 and then this is where we go to 5. So that's the 2 A's for beat 5, and then 6. So it sounds like this: 3, 4. Yeah, so that's actually 6 beats, and then that leads around to the top of the verse. And you back round again. Yeah, so that bar of 6 again: 3, 4. Yeah, one more for luck: 3, 4. And it goes back round. So 3 from the top: 3, 4. So on, yeah? So all you need to do is just add that intro: 3, 4. And you're away. And just work on the tone and really listen to the record, because there's so much nuance in the way he plays. That's it. So I hope you've enjoyed that, guys. It's a tricky little thing to get right, but it's really worth it, and I think it's a lovely thing to learn. So have fun, keep practicing, and yeah, leave any comments below, subscribe to the channel, but most of all, enjoy yourselves. Thank you.